What happens when you mount a popular off-road tire size like a 35 by 12.5 wide on a wheel or rim that is just as wide as the tire? If you guessed that the chances of debeating the tire off the wheel while running low air pressures is much higher, well, my friends, you're absolutely correct. Even if the width of the rim is 10 inches wide and the tire width is 12.5 inches wide, there is still a much greater chance that the tire is going to get knocked off the bead seat at lower air pressure when compared to running, let's say, an 8.5 inch wide or 9 inch wide wheel. But why is this? Well, it's not exactly rocket science, but what ends up happening with wheels that are too wide for the tire, at least for those of us who often hit the trails at lower air pressure, the wheel being wider is, number one, more vulnerable to trail debris because the rim sticks out farther and isn't tucked back as far as it could be, and number two, there isn't as much bead pressure coming from inside of the tire pushing the bead outwards tighter up against the rim of the wheel. This means that with wider wheel sizes, you will need to run a higher amount of air pressure in the tire in order to basically hold the tire bead up against the rim of the wheel to keep it from debeading, compared to being able to run lower air pressures in a wheel that is proportional to the width of the tire. So just think about it this way, guys. You ever wonder how a narrower tire fits on a wheel that is clearly too wide for the tire? You know, the ones that are almost exclusively found on those little fart can cars. I don't even know what the terminology is for them, but in order to get the little rubber band tire to hold air, you have to put about 80 pounds of pressure in the tire to prevent the tire's bead from wanting to pull towards the inside of the tire. Simply put, the more air pressure pushes the tire's beads outwards, holding the bead on the wheel. So then, what is the width of the wheel supposed to be in relation to the width of the tire? If the rim width is too narrow, you pinch the tire in and cause it to balloon out, creating premature wear and tear. And if the rim width is too wide, you run a higher risk of blowing a bead at lower air pressures. So the rule of thumb is a change of about 0.2 of an inch in tire width for about every ½ inch of rim or wheel width. So what does that translate to? Well, that will want the width of the wheel to be about roughly 70 to 75% of the width of the tire. Let's do the math. 70% of a 12.5 inch wide tire, and that means a wheel width of 8.75 inches or 8 3/4. Now, a 1/4 inch one way or the other isn't going to make a huge difference, so it can either be an 8.5 inch wide wheel width or a 9 inch wide wheel. Personally, I would go with the 8.5 inch wide wheel just for that little extra bit of security in more tire bead pressure against the inside of the rim. Now, a few things to keep in consideration here, guys, is that this 70 to 75% rule to determine what the width of the wheel should be is situational, and it's a strong suggestion, more specifically to those of us who go off-road and air down quite frequently. This doesn't necessarily speak to those running low-profile tires either, but to those of us who prefer some sidewall distance between the edge of the rim and where the tire hits the ground. It also doesn't mean you absolutely have to stick to this rule of thumb. However, you will get the best results, especially in off-road performance, by sticking close to the 70 to 75% rule. And here's an example as to why I say that. Let's just say, shits and giggles, let's take a Kenda Cleaver RT 35 by 10.5 inch wide tire, one of which has grown in popularity due to its traction advantages being a narrower tire, but more can be learned about that in our wide versus narrow tire video we did a while back. Anyways, in this case where we are taking a narrower tire, then I'm gonna use a bit of a higher percentage with the wheel width, and we'll use 75%, which 75% of 10.5 inches wide is 7.9 inches, or basically round up to an 8 inch wide wheel. And guys, the easiest way to find what you're looking for wheel widths and different wheel sizes on our website at TrailBuilt is by utilizing the filters and searching through those results that way. Also, keep in mind that when you are looking for your next wheel and tire package on TrailBuilt, that we offer free mounting, free balancing, and free shipping to anyone who lives in the lower 48. And on top of that, make sure and keep an eye on our today's deals page, as that will show you everything that we have on sale right now to really maximize your savings. And we'll have that link posted in the description below. But I am curious though, guys, do you have a preference of wheel width in relation to the width of your tire that you're running? Do you prefer a narrower or wider wheel? And make sure and let us know why in the comments below. And guys, as always, we appreciate all of you for watching and all of your support. I'm Josh from TrailBuilt, and we'll see you guys out on the trails.